It's October the 2nd, and I'm planting a winter garden. I live in Central Florida, and it's not too late to start. I could have started in mid-September, but it's still not too late. If you live in Central Florida or North Florida, don't procrastinate much longer. In today's video, I'm going to show you what I'm growing in my garden that will go through the winter months and on into early springtime. Hi, I'm Debbie, and welcome to my organic garden.
All I have needs, I have not provided.
One of the spring vegetables that I'm growing is tomatoes, and those will be transferred to a pot that can be brought indoors when there's a frost or a freeze. I'm growing two kinds of broccoli. Decicio has been a real good broccoli for me. It's been successful in the past. I don't get real big heads from them, but I get a lot of side shoots, and I'm just as happy with side shoots because you go out every other day and you've got vegetables for dinner. The other variety that does okay, and I'm going to really try to baby it this year, see if I can get some healthy heads from Waltham. So two varieties that I've done well with, and I'm sure there's other varieties. Those are just my favorites. I'm trying my hands with Brussels sprouts as well. I tried those probably 20 years ago and did not do well. So finally, I'm going to really try and give them what they need to actually have the little heads on the stems. And I'm going to give rutabaga a try as well. Rutabaga, turnips, carrots, they should all do well all the way through the winter months until the end of February. And I'm trying something new this year, arugula. I harvested from some plants that had bolted in North Carolina, and they're a leafy green vegetable. I think they're going to do just fine. For the vegetables that you want to start in your seed pods first, you do need some supplies. First of all, you've got to have some markers. These are homemade markers that I made out of old vertical blind veins. You can get one or two veins and you've got enough markers to last you a lifetime. I'm going to be using plastic wrap to wrap over the top just so it keeps the moisture in. And that's what the elastic is for, because I don't think the plastic is going to stick to the pots here. This is biofungicide, Bacillus, I'm sure I'm not going to pronounce it right, amyloquifasciens strain. You want to keep this bottle in a cool, dry place. Don't store it out in your shed, especially if you live in Florida. Now, that is the last thing that I'm going to do for my seeds. It just gives them an extra little boost. You've got to use seed starting mix. It will make you or break you. If those seeds are really, really tiny, like arugula or broccoli or rutabaga, it's got to have a light soil that it can actually sprout up through. And you don't even have to dig little holes and plant them. So I want to show you an easy way to plant all these vegetables in just a few minutes. I want to invite you to my Etsy shop, Debbie's Garden Gifts. I'm designing gifts that I think gardeners would like to have. Mugs, wall prints, t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, and I'm creating more as time goes on. Visit me at Debbie's Garden Gifts. I put this piece of plywood down over our porch because when the water seeps through these holes and it goes onto the wood underneath it or the surface underneath it, it will stain. So This piece of wood will protect our porch from getting stained. See how light and fluffy that is? Now, I do have an organic garden, and this soil is not labeled organic. You can get a seed starter that is organic, but this is just one of those things that, because the rest of the life of this plant is going to be grown organically, it really doesn't bother me that this soil here is not organic. But you can certainly go completely 100% organic. There are seed starting mixes that are organic. So just level it all out. Before I start my seeds, I'm going to go ahead and get my labels ready. There. I recommend that you use pencil. I've tried permanent marker, and they're not permanent. If this were to get transferred out into the garden, a permanent marker just fades away. But the pencil stays on there pretty good. Now, I had fun on my vacation discovering vegetables that had already gone to seed from being grown in the springtime. One of those things was arugula. Now watch, I'm just sprinkling a very few right on the top. So I have some to put back in this envelope, and hopefully they're going to make some arugula plants. I'm going to have 2 rows here of rutabaga. And these seeds are also going to be really tiny. There's still quite a few in there. I don't know if you can see down in there. I don't think I'm going to need to use, but not even half of them. I'm going to put about 3 in each cell. And if they all sprout, I'll just pick them out later and keep the best ones. Brussels are next. I'm going to do 2 rows of Brussels. Again, 2 or 3 per cell is plenty. See how quick and easy? I'm basically just rolling them through my fingers like this. And I want 2 rows of Waltham broccoli. You know, when you get these seeds, it doesn't seem to be very many. But if I'm planting 3, sometimes 4 fall out, 3 per cell, and one of them actually from each cell grows up to be a big plant, believe me, it's going to be plenty from just me and my husband. And now, Decisio. I have some left. Back they go. And finally, I'm going to grow some Roma VF tomatoes. That's an Italian tomato. They make a good spaghetti sauce or anything that you cook. And I like pear-shaped Italian tomatoes too. Okay, there's not very many in that one. I'm going to have to let Victory know about that. There's not even a dozen seeds in here. Okay. Let me check and see what's left in here. There's only about 6 seeds, so 18 seeds. Well, 20 seed packet. Okay, that's true to what they said. These will get stored in the freezer. They'll go first in a quart-size Ziploc, and then my quart-size Ziplocs go into a gallon-size Ziploc, so there's double protection. I don't want them to get freezer burn or, you know, get any kind of moisture inside. And as long as I keep these in the freezer, they'll be all right for next season. If I were to keep them out, the viability will go down drastically. And I know some of you can keep your seeds from season to season, but here in Florida, it's really not a good idea. The viability goes downhill really quick in our heat and the humidity. Now, the easy part, why you don't have to dig little holes, you come back in and you're going to sprinkle a fine layer right over the top. Now, don't bury them too deep, but you do need to get a consistently fine layer over the top. It just makes a real easy, fun time of it. And I still have some potting soil down in the bottom here. It doesn't take very much. So I'm going to wrap that up, save it for another time. There's a gallon of water in my watering can. I'm going to add about a capful of biofungicide into the water. That's probably, I don't know, a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half. You don't have to be real precise. Just, it's not going to hurt them. It's like giving them a dose of vitamins. That's really, really dry, so I'm going to just give it a quick run over first, let it soak in, and then go through again. Give it a chance to be able to soak up all this biofungicide water. Still pretty dry. I might go for a third time here. Okay, this is the tricky part. Covering all this with plastic, let extra run out of there. Tuck it up under there to hold it in place. Ta-da! Well, that was fun, but it works. Even though it's got the plastic on top, you still need to check it every single day. This is one part of my garden that I freed up to plant some green beans right there and some dry beans right there. And then right down here, I planted some beets and also some turnips. The turnips are already coming up. I hope the beets do too. These are baby turnips. And that is where a dog, right there. A dog has walked through my garden. Oh well. Look, there's some beets coming up. I'm so happy about that. I'll come back in a few days and I'll show you the progress of the seeds that we just planted. It's now October the 5th. It's been about 5 days since I planted the seeds in this little tray. I came out last night, watered them, adjusted the plastic wrap, and then I came back out this morning to check on it again because you see the wrap didn't stay down real tight. And look what I found! Look at these, just barely peeking through. Little baby broccoli plants. I don't see the tomatoes yet, but look, I have Brussels sprouts coming up, the rutabagas coming up, and look at the arugula. And that's what I harvested from North Carolina. I'm so happy. Now that the plastic's off, I will be out here at least once a day checking the soil. It can dry out pretty quickly. At this stage, it's easy to be excited. I have visions in my head of broccoli and Brussels sprouts and arugula, Roma tomatoes. Thanks for watching.